Hello everyone, welcome back to the new video. In this video I will go over the project that I am working on. I am going over the project right now because I feel like most of the project, or you can say 80% of it, is finished. And the second reason is my Snowflake trial account is about to end. I have like only 10 days left, so I think it is good time to go over the project. So the project is about creating a database related to the library. Library means a library in the school from which students are going to issue the books. So I am going to create the database in which I am taking care of all the different possibilities that I can think of that can happen within the library. For example, student issuing the books, student returning the books, student extending the date or the time period for which they can keep the book, like something like that. So this project is going to be in the Python Snowflake, and I am using oops inside the Python to create this database, or working with all of those different possibilities. The main reason of creating this video or working on this project is like there are a lot of videos on the YouTube that are in the oops, but that are all related to some games, some applications, something like that. There are not many videos in which people are using oops and they are working with database, or you can say the data frames or something like that. So that's why I thought of working on it and creating the video on it so that it can help others. So this project is about library book management system in which I am using Snowflake and Python oops. So let's go over it. So let me first go over the different tables that I have in my this library management system. So first table is going to be the student table, in which I have student ID, roll number, first name, last name, standard year. Student ID is going to be the unique key for all the students, and then standard is going to be the class that they are in, like first, second, third, fourth, and standard year is going to be the year in which they are in that particular class. For example, someone is in second class and the year was 2018, something like that. So that is going to be the student table, for which I have just created some random records for it right now. I don't have any pipeline or something that's feeding the records in it right now. And the second table is going to be the library books. In the library books I have three columns: book name, book quantity, and book ID. Book ID is going to be the unique key for this, and for creating book IDs I am using what do you call it, a library called UUID that creates the unique IDs for these books. And book quantity I am doing using random function of the NumPy to creating the random book quantities for the each book. So this is going to be my library books table. For this, my plan is to have a web scraping from the Amazon website that is going to fetch the books every week, or you can say every 15 days, and then it will put those books in this table. If those books are already there, then it will not put them. If there are some new books, then it is going to put them in the library books. So that's my plan, to have it either bi-weekly, weekly, or monthly, or something like that, but that's still the plan. I have not worked on it. And then I have created one more table, that is book availability status, in which I have all the three columns that are already there in the library books, and there is one more column that is transaction date. So all the books that are going to be issued to the students is going to be from this table. Why this table? Because I want to maintain the, you can say, the quantity thing, so that I can see and track if any books are lost or not. For example, for one particular book the quantity is 10 here, this is initially. Right now we have not issued any book, and for that same particular book quantity is 10 here also. But now the student has issued the book. So once they issued the books, now the quantity will go 9 here. And now suppose student has not returned the book and it's still the 9. If there is a time when I want to track back how many books are lost or something like that, then I can compare the values from this and this, so that I will see there is one book lost here or one student has not returned the book. So that's why I have created this new table from which I am going to issue the books to the student. And as soon as the student will return the book back, this quantity is going to be 10 again. So that's the main purpose of this book availability status. And transaction date is going to be the date on which either student issued the book or they returned the book, depending on what they are doing for that particular book. So that's the main purpose for me for creating the book availability status. And then there is going to be a table that is student issued books, in which I have issuance ID, student ID, book ID, issuance date, return date, and late fees amount. So late fees amount is by default is going to be 0, because it is going to be increases or incremented after student passed the return date. So here issuance ID is the primary key, and then the student who is issuing the book, the ID of the book that they are issuing, the date on which they are issuing the book, and then the return date. By default I keep the return date like after 7 days. Suppose someone issued it today, so by default the return date is going to be the 7 days after today. And late fees amount is going to increase after that 7th date. If someone has not returned the book on the mentioned return date, then after that $10 is going to increase per day for them to have the book with them past return date. And then there is a table. I created one more table, that is book return history, in which I have return ID, book ID, student ID, book issuance date, book return date, and late fees amount. So here, as soon as student will return the book, what I am doing is I am not keeping the record here. As soon as they return the book, the record will be here, and that record will be deleted from the student issued books, such that student issued books only have those students who presently have the books with them. Once they return the books, then those records are going to be in this table. So that you can say this table is the history of students who have the book and returned it, and this table is the present book holders, students who have the books. So in this, again the book issuance date is the date on which they have issued the books, and book return date is going to be the actual date when they have returned the book, and according to that late fees is getting calculated. So yeah, this is, you can say, my basic structure right now that I have designed it. And there are some considerations that I have did, like a student can only issue one book at a time, but yeah, multiple books can be issued, but a student can issue only one book at a time. And I am not taking care of like student passing the exams, then they are getting to a new class or not, like those things are not here, because this is strictly related to the library. So this is my database structure that it looks like right now. Let me go to my different files, or you can say methods that I have in my file. So first is the database in which I have the Snowflake connection, and that connection is used by these two other files, student and library. Other than Snowflake connection, there is a method called creating new table. Whenever I feel like I am missing something and I have to create a new table related to that, I can just call this method and I can create a new table. And then I have a method related to inserting new values in a table. In like all the tables that I have, I can insert new values with this method. And then I have a method related to adding a new column to a table. Like if I feel like I am missing one column in any of these tables, or any table that I'm going to create in future, I can add a new column with the help of this method. And then there is like uploading a CSV method. So like if I have to upload any CSV file to any of my tables, I can do that. There are few more methods that I have to add, like updating the records, deleting the records, or something like that. And then the next table is library table, from which I have a method related to the book selection, because books are getting issued with book ID. So here book ID must be there to issue the books. For that there is a method called book selection, from which a student can like type a book name, and it will give me all the records related to that book name. And if there is any book that they want, I can just take the book ID from there, and then using that book ID they can issue the books. So that's why there is a method related to book selection, to get the book IDs from the table. Which table? This table. And it is going to return only those books whose quantity is greater than 0, because if it's less than 0 or it's 0, then I cannot issue the books. So yeah, it's going to be there. And then there is a method for like returning the book. So as soon as student is going to return the book, I will call this method, and if there is any late fees, then it will not let me return it. So there is a method, it will not let me return it until I mention that late fees amount in my method. So this is the book return method for the student. And then there is a file for student, in which I can create new student records. For a student, I can see if any student issued the books or not, if they have issued any book, by what time they should return it, something like that. And then again it's going to see all the records related to the student, related to like books, late fees, return date, issuance date, which book, how many books, something, all those. And then there is a method related to the book extension. It is like if student likes some book and they want to keep it for some more time, then they can extend the time period for it. By default here again I have provided like 7 days, like you can extend it for 7 more days. Yeah, so I am not making it more complicated, like you can just extend it once or twice. If they extended it once, they can extend it twice again. I have not like taking care of those things right now, because I don't want to make it complicated. So yeah, after that, so let's look at our tables that I have created. So first table is related to the student. In the student I have only these many records right now, in which student ID is auto increment, and it's getting generated on its own. And then there is roll number, first name, last name, standard year. And then there is a library books table, in which I have only these 3 columns: book name, book quantity, and the book ID. And then there is book availability status table, in which you can say the dates are different for some of the record, because I was testing my code and also I used these books and issued them to the students. And then there is student issued books. Currently it has 0 records, because none of the students have any books right now. And then there is a book return history table, in which students have returned the books, and for some of the students they are not punctual and they return their books on late, so they have the late fees that they have to pay. So this is the basic structure of the database, how it's going to look like. In the next video I will go over the code that I have here, and I will explain one by one. But yeah, I don't want to keep this video long. In the next video I will go over my database.py file, and then I will explain it, like what I am doing here and what's happening behind the scenes. But yeah, until then, Everyone, take care. Have a good day. Hope you learned something new. I will see you in the next video. Bye.